Hello, and welcome back. Whoa, that zoom was crazy. To another video. We're gonna be working a little bit longer in our bullet train saga. The zoom is so much. Why is the zoom so much? What do you mean? Do you want to see every pore on my forehead? But in the last video, we made a working bullet train that goes 600 kilometers per hour, or 600 kiloblocks an hour, kbps. You also had about 1 billion comments in the last video, and I want to go over some of the key ones that I saw repeated frequently and often to tell you why you're stupid and wrong. The first comment I saw was one that was repeated very, very frequently. Pretty much every other comment was this: why don't you have the magnets on the bottom to lift the train up and still propel it forward? And honestly, that's a good question. I don't think I showed it in the video, but I did try this by myself, but I'm willing to try it again just to show you what I learned and why maybe it doesn't work. So just as a reminder, this was our original setup where we had the propulsion on the side, and then I thought, hey, we can maybe put magnets behind here to pull our train magnet. Let's just pretend that this is our train, to pull them together and kind of keep it up just by pulling really hard. Instead, maybe we could put the magnets here and keep it up in this way. So I've actually gone and set that up here. We have our magnets down below and our propulsion magnets on the side. This is something I did test in the last video. I probably didn't include it because it didn't work, but this is what's happening. It pretty much just falls to the ground right away. I have tried this with a bunch of different power levels, and it seems like that is pretty frequently the case. Looking at our magnet overview thing, it seems like most of our magnets are pulling in just a bunch of different directions, and I honestly can't tell you what is wrong with it, other than it just doesn't really work. The other option we have really is having our propulsion magnets on the ground, and underneath you could see there through the gap there, we have magnets under those keeping this thing up. And oh, I actually need to invert all of these. These are all the wrong way. But we can have this thing go, and yeah, it flips over pretty heavily. And I think that's because we have our blue magnets on top, which attract to the red ones down here. So as soon as it gets a little bit off center, the blue magnets are then gonna pull it more off center, and then it basically connects up. So that isn't gonna work either. What we kind of have to happen is we need our propulsion magnets on either the sides like here, or maybe in the middle, and then maybe we could build our contraption around this. The only issue is I don't know how to make it so that it doesn't do what this one does, which is go to the floor immediately. It kind of feels like it's doing more than gravity? Is that a crazy thing to say? Like, it feels like gravity would do less. Here, you know what, I can test. Let's turn off our magnets so that there's no force on them. That doesn't fall that quickly in the grand scheme of things. And then this falls more. Oop, this one falls way more. Maybe it's, let me rotate these around. Honestly, it's been a few days since I was working on the previous Mag-Lev train. I don't know if I've tested this. Oh, but in theory, oh my gosh, I did it. I did it. So I think this is an accidental W. I put these copper slab things there, and because I was initially testing with these magnets in the ground, and I wanted to see if maybe that would prevent it from flipping. But this thing actually goes crazy. We have gone literal hundreds of blocks away. This is great. Unfortunately though, with our current forwards and backwards setup where we rotate these magnets around, that will break the system. That's something that we can get back to though. I want to see how fast this thing goes. That's like 110 meters per second, and that is a 300 block track. So that's shorter than any of the tracks I was testing on last time. This might be an insane sign so that we can make an actual levitating train. As much as it would be really interesting to build this right away, I'm actually gonna move away from this and go towards the other main comments that I saw. The next one I wanted to go over is about the train station itself. So I said in the last episode, it should be relatively easy to make a train station as long as you can slow down the train enough to connect it to the docking connector. It is relatively easy, but it was actually a little bit more challenging than I initially thought. The way the docking connector works is if you power it on, and then we have to go above it, and power one on above it, they will connect up and lock themselves into place. This basically locks our train contraption into the normal Minecraft grid again, so that it doesn't like fling around or freak out. And this is quite useful for stations. The only issue is, when you're going at 100 meters per second, they won't connect. So we need to slow it down, and we need to slow it down to pretty much a stop, because it is a little bit finicky. To do this, I've actually made a station here. This station is way longer than my little dinky rowboat way down there that we're gonna be testing with, but that is because we need a ton of magnets to slow the thing down. And let me walk you through what we're doing here. So we have our normal magnets here to speed up and make the train go in this direction. And obviously when we're going towards the station stopping point, we actually want to slow it down. So in order to do that, I have magnets over on this side that will be the inverse of these. So instead of pushing the train this way, it'll push the train in this direction. And since the train is traveling this way, that means it'll slow it down. So the way we get these magnets over to this side here is just with a mechanical bearing and a sequence gear shift spinning it at 180 degrees. That basically just flips it over to this side and this side back over to here. We do it just with a power source, and as you can see, it flips over. Let's slow it down just so you can see it. It flips both over at the same time and is basically good. You will notice that it flips in this direction. If we did it in the other way, it would bonk up our train, because these blocks are like right here on the train. It would bonk these up and shoot our train into the sky, which obviously isn't ideal. The way we know when to switch these tracks is done over here with our modulating linked receiver, which is basically just a distance tracker to see where our train is compared to where it is. Right now, it's much further than 60 blocks away, which is the maximum number that I've set. And as it gets closer, and mostly just within that 60 block range, it will then power this redstone link and power the thing that you just saw happen. We can test it out just by hopping in our train and going forward. We should see those flip around and we stop. Honestly, it's pretty difficult to tell the speed, so let's look it out. And oh, as you saw, we went from pretty much 100 meters per second down to 30 by here, which makes it a lot easier for the game to know when to connect our docking stations. You may have also noticed that once we connected to our docking stations, this flipped back over, so now it's facing the correct direction. And the way we do that is just down here. Right now, the docking station is powered, but as you can see, the comparator output is not doing anything. Once we connect it up to the docking station though, you could see, oh, it got powered, and our docking station down here is now powering this comparator, and a redstone link that we have set up that goes over here and flips this thing around again. So it's a really simple system in the grand scheme of things. Compared to the train itself, this was pretty easy to get set up. But now we have to go back to the hard stuff, and that is trying to make the train turn. You guys had some great ideas on how to make a curve that isn't just a straight 90-degree curve, and I've set it up here. It uses torsion springs set at very small angles. There is, however, one pretty big issue with it. So let's look at this right now. If you're a train and you're trying to go in a direction, the idea of the curves is to have you curve with it. The problem is the train kind of needs to hug this inner line. Blocks are going to get in the way. The reason for this is because these are all on the same normal axis here. So what's happening is we're trying to, on this axis, move the train in that direction, which isn't entirely possible in the standard Minecraft grid. So our initial turn is actually pretty reasonable, but any turn after that is going to bring our inner corner out towards the middle a little bit because it is that longer radius. It's just kind of how circles work, unfortunately. So I've actually tried a little bit of work in getting this to function with something like gantry shafts, for example. The issue with this though, and I'll show you it now, is that gantry shafts only work on the set block. So there's not a way to stop it with the torsion spring and make it so that it only goes in a certain direction for a certain amount of spin. As soon as the gantry shaft stops, this thing resets. The same is true with the mechanical piston, which basically, at least in my mind, are the main two options to get things moving side to side. And this is where you all come in. If there's anything I'm missing, please let me know, because I mean, I feel like I have to be. There's got to be a way with Aeronautics or something else to move an existing contraption over just a little bit. I just don't know what it is. Another potential idea that I saw was using train tracks. If we can connect up our contraption to the train tracks and just let the train tracks turn it, we don't even need magnets for that part, As long as the train tracks hold down our bullet train, that's a pretty good compromise. And the train tracks might be frictionless, I don't actually know. And I'm gonna do my best to try to connect this up. So we have a train station here. Let's set it to create a new train. I guess what we can do is get a little curve in our train and see if this lets us go anywhere. So, curve over to here, sure. And let's turn this on and see what happens. Nothing at all. This is still a contraption. I guess let's, oh, I can't even move it. And that's probably because our train is still yet to be built. Try to build our train in this way. No structure attached to bogie. Okay, so we've made our train using these magnets. Yeah, and this isn't gonna do anything anymore because it's a create carriage contraption instead of a create aeronautics contraption. So unless there's a way to convert this into a physics object, I think we're gonna be out of luck. Yeah, we can't interact with this thing at all. If I'm missing something, I guess I'm missing my train. I was gonna say if I was missing anything, let me know down in the comments. Yeah, this might be a problem. Okay. Well, it was worth a shot. I think it would have been a really clever idea. If it worked, I would have really liked it. Since we can't get turning to work though, I think let's move back over to the fully Mag-Lev version of the train. And as you can see, I've done a little bit more work on the stuff that we have here. So underneath, we still have our magnets pointing upward, and then I've just made it look a little pretty with some blocks of iron. This now has pretty much fully changed. We started out with just these redstone magnets pushing us this way, and the biggest difficulty is making the train go in the opposite direction. The only real way to do that, unless we want to flip the magnets in the train car as well as the magnets here, is to flip the magnets on the side. And there's not really a way to flip this 180 degrees like that. So the next best bet, at least in my mind, is to just have two of them, each going in different directions. And then we have a linked controller that is for forward and one for backwards. And then when you're driving, you can either go forwards or backwards. And that actually works really well. The only issue speed-wise was that, and you've seen it the whole time I've been doing this type of thing, when the train goes forward, it hikes the front up a ton, which makes the bottom hit the ground and slow us down with friction. So that's why I've added these redstone magnets here. They are basically pushing down our train and making it so that it floats maybe just a little bit. Oh, I don't think our magnets are on right now. Let's turn them on. There we go. Oh, you saw it. Makes it float probably half a block. And it does bob a little bit, but it is a lot better than what it was. And I am thinking a little bit more consistent as well, which is great. If I can get in here, this is one of the difficulties, getting in the train, but once you're in, we have the driver's seat and we can go forwards and backwards. We are fully levitating and hitting 100 meters per second. But yeah, we can pretty easily go forwards and backwards for whatever reason. We're like not. So I think part of the issue is that, and I'm not sure how to fix this or if it's possible to fix, but since we're using redstone links here, if they aren't loaded in at the right time, you can see I'm pressing W here, these aren't being powered. They were earlier, and I'm not sure if this is because I'm running on my laptop instead of a real computer, or if it's just not ever gonna work, but this might be something to think about if you're trying to do a floating design. It'll maybe be a little brokey. And I am fairly confident this is an issue about just the loading of the game, because as soon as I log out and log back into the world, it starts working. I have greatly decreased the performance and simulation distance on a lot of stuff, so that might be the issue. If you have a good computer and it's working well, then you might actually be okay. But I needed it because I am on my laptop and I just needed to record. But as you could see, we are going up until the chunks started breaking, but we hit 100 meters per second going in that direction. And if we go forward again, we should get up there pretty quickly as well. And this is fully floating. There is nothing touching the ground at all, and we're able to go 120, it looked like. And then for some reason it slowed down. I'm actually really pleased with how this has turned out. It is fully levitating, fully floating, and working as expected. The other benefit of having it so that you can control when you're starting or stopping is that we kind of maybe don't need the station as long as the driver is doing a good job. You obviously could just put in the station and it would work great. Like if you just want to hold W the whole way you're going, you don't have to pay attention. If you have a super long track, that might actually be necessary. But at least for this design, it's probably not needed. But again, I'm so happy about how this turned out. We have actually a levitating train that can go in both directions at around 100 meters per second. So it is slower than the design I made with wheels, and there's not really a way to speed it up. I've tried adding more magnets on this level here, and that kind of broke stuff. So it's a little bit challenging to try to speed up any further, but the vibe of having a floating train cannot be beat. And I'm a big fan of this. Now I guess comparing this to the design I made in the previous episode, I'm gonna be honest, I think this might be over-engineered. We have 3 sets of magnets on the outside. Oh, and 4, including the ones down here, on each side, instead of just the 1 row of magnets along the side that we had on our standard track design. So it is 4 times more expensive. I need specifically a comparator power of 8 for these comparators and these magnets down here, which means we need composters all filled with bone meal and such, which makes it a little bit more challenging to build. And we also need redstone links that power and depower along the whole track system, which again makes it more expensive. So this is really expensive. It is, however, super cool. So I don't know if it's worth it per se. If you geniuses in the comments have more ideas, because I actually will appreciate and take them, let me know. If there are ways that you think you can improve this, and obviously if you're making a video on it, try to at me in the description so I can check it out. But honestly, I think if I were to build this in my world, I would do the one with wheels. Even though this is very cool, it's not super useful. I'm gonna be totally honest. And you can make the ones with wheels go just so much faster. So I think that's gonna do it for this video. I will make one more, getting a train person on to design a train that looks cool with the standard wheels design, and make it so that it can be fully controlled and maybe even include the station over there. For this video though, I will have schematics down in the description for the track, the train, and our station that we designed in this episode. So if you're interested in those types of things, it'll be in the description. But that's gonna be it. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.